New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And now the good news. I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and I am so delighted to be able to share these glorious stories with you. We need a lot of good news these days, so welcome to the show. Well, we're going to start off with a wonderful dog that just is amazing. This black lab. Louis Perez is no stranger to pain. At 45 years old, he's been battling MS most of his life, lost his vision at age 23 due to complications with his condition, and now receives regular plasma infusions to combat symptoms of his autoimmune disease. All of this has been extremely difficult and has led to him experiencing depression, anxiety, self-isolation. Well, in a heartwarming page turn, the story was shared with the Good News Network, which you can go on anytime, about how Louis decided a guide dog might benefit his life. So we turned to Dogs Inc., where he was matched with a black lab named Jerry in September of 2024. Jerry does more than lead Louis. He has improved his confidence and socialization, is a trusted friend and loving companion, and helps Louis live his life to the fullest. Then he became something further still. Jerry became a hero. Recently, Louis was experiencing pain and discomfort that he attributed to MS, but this time it felt slightly different. He had a lot of pain when moving his left leg in certain positions, so he was remaining in his recliner chair. Jerry kept persistently coming over to Louis and pressing his chin down on Louis's leg. Jerry had now never acted like this before, and eventually Louis and his wife decided to go to the hospital. After hours of waiting and testing, he was diagnosed with a blood clot in his left leg, deep vein thrombosis. It was exactly where Jerry had laid his head. DVT is a very serious condition that can progress quickly, and it was crucial for Louis to receive treatment that very night. If his dog had not alerted him, Louis says he would have accredited the pain to his usual symptoms and would not have taken it seriously. He would have likely died. The dog is now not only his guide and dear companion, but also his hero. Way to go, Jerry. You are a hero. That is a lovely story. Dogs are amazing. Man. Okay, well, here's a fun story. 5 friends who take the same photo every decade. So for over 4 decades, we vowed to keep it going. So look at these photos. 5 friends from California have been taking the same photo while on vacation together since 1982. The 62-year-old pals, John Wardlaw, Max Rumer-Cleary, Dallas Burney, John Maloney, and J.D. Dixon all attended Santa Barbara High School when they were teens. After graduation, they vacationed together at Wardlaw's grandfather's cabin on Kopka Lake near the Oregon border. There, JD took the first photo of the 5 of them sitting next to each other. Wardlaw had the idea to duplicate the snapshot 5 years later when the quintet was again vacationing in the same spot. We didn't plan it and didn't make a vow to keep it going until it was done 4 times. By the time it was 1997, we vowed to keep doing this no matter what. So since they were 19, the friends have taken the same photo, 1982, 1987, 1992, on and on and on. And they plan to shoot their 10th portrait in 2027. This is really funny. The jar held by John Maloney in all the photos originally held a cockroach they caught, which became their mascot on the guy's first trip. We all liked the photo. We even had a 20 by 30-inch poster of it hung in my house at the time. When the story was featured on CNN 14 years ago, it went viral with millions of views logged on their website. The reaction was almost 100% positive. The reactions taught John and his buddies how rare their friendship was, and for the last 3 summers, they've all gathered at the lake cabin. The trip is a 12-hour drive or an airline flight for most of the friends, with John the only one remaining in Santa Barbara. What a fun story. What a good idea. I love that. Friendship is such a powerful thing. It's good for us body, mind, and soul. So good going, guys, and keep it up. Well, we're going to take a short little commercial break. We got to thank the people who keep us on the station, and we'll be right back. So don't go away. All right. Well, this story really surprised me, actually. This one is quite interesting. Everyone's liver is only 3 years old. Hmm. So this World War II vet becomes the oldest organ donor in the United States history at 100. Yes, 2 hours after Dale Steele passed away, his son received a call. The circle of life was spinning, and Dale's legacy would soon live on. Even at 100 years old, his liver was 100% healthy, and he could donate it. How could that be? Said his son. Officials from the organ donation nonprofit Live on Nebraska, or Live on Nebraska, I'm not sure which, explained it to the Steele's children. The way the liver consistently replaces cells and regenerates makes its functional age usually less than 3 years old. His liver was successfully transplanted into a grateful patient just one day after his death, and at 100 years old, the procedure made Dale the oldest organ donor in United States history. One of the myths we hear out in the community often is that I'm too old to be an organ donor, or I might not be healthy enough to be a donor. And I think a case like this truly proves there is no age limit. Dale was born near Ainsworth, Nebraska in 1925 and served in Europe during World War II. And after that, the cattle rancher returned home and met his wife Doris, who he was married to for 72 years. Whew, that's amazing. Dale remained active throughout his life by raising cattle, working at a farming co-op, and selling irrigation and grain handling equipment. If he could help people, he would. But he wasn't showy about it, said Roger, his son. He had a strong body that was able to carry him through his 100th birthday. I think that came from hard work. So as Dale's life was nearing the end in February, the organ donor group inquired about his organs, and the answer was an easy one. We consented without hesitation. We thought this is the kind of thing, if he were able to be asked, he would agree to. Good for you, Dale. What a way to live on by giving someone else a new chance at life. That's beautiful. And who knew? I had no idea. Okay, moving right along. There's angels everywhere. A woman adopts 80-year-old widow who moved from California to Tennessee. At 80 years old, Lois Mayo set out on a 2,000-mile journey in search of a new life. And along the way, she found exactly what she was hoping for: kindness, courage, and a stranger who would become her angel. Without ever having visited before, Lois made the bold decision to leave California behind and head to Tennessee. Her reason was simple but heartfelt: the history and the people, and the Southern hospitality. People are so nice. So she packed up her SUV, brought along her 2 cats, Vanilla and Bubs, and hit the road. No map, no detailed plan, just a destination in mind. I knew I-40 would take me to Tennessee, she said. 5 days later, the trio arrived in Murfreesboro after crossing the country together. For Lois, who is widowed, the move wasn't reckless, it was revitalizing. Makes me feel more alive, she said. But starting over from scratch came with real challenges. The trip used up her latest Social Security check, and with nowhere to stay, Lois prepared herself for the possibility of sleeping in her car while she figured things out. Still, she remained hopeful. I feel I can meet new people, and there's angels everywhere, she said. She turned out to be absolutely right. During a visit to a local Walmart, Lois met Paris Barnes, an employee who would soon play a life changing role in her story. What began as a simple interaction quickly became something much deeper. I think it was meant for us to meet, Paris told her. God is using me to help you. Paris didn't hesitate. She helped Lois get a temporary stay in a motel and launched a GoFundMe campaign to support her next steps. But her kindness didn't stop there. After learning Lois had lost contact with her son during the journey, Paris spent 24 hours tracking him down, eventually locating him through an old Facebook page and working with a police department to reconnect them. He had no idea his mother had left California and had been trying to reach her. While her son is offering what help he can, Lois has made it clear she wants to stay in Tennessee, a place she already feels at home. She has expressed that she loves Tennessee and wants to stay. Now the focus is on helping Lois build a stable future. She remains in a motel for the time being as Paris works to secure long-term housing, medical care, and basic necessities. With limited income and long wait lists for affordable housing, the road ahead isn't easy, but she's no longer walking it alone. Paris explained her motivation simply saying, I truly believe we are called to serve others. And in this moment, this is what that looks like. Thanks to that compassion and the generosity of others, nearly $10,000 has already been raised to help Lois get back on her feet. As for Lois, she's taking it, embracing the unexpected turns of her journey with the same courage that got her there in the first place. You got to follow your dreams, she said. Life begins at 80. Woo! Way to go, Lois. And way to go, Paris. I love that story. It truly is one of the most kind and beautiful things. All right, moving right along. A man in another country saved her life, and then he showed up to her wedding. A life saving gift from a stranger across the world turned into an unforgettable wedding moment. Now, I may pronounce this woman's name wrong because it's unusual to me. At 33 years old, Katie Sakala was facing a diagnosis that simply wouldn't go away. After years of unexplained low blood cell counts, she learned in 2020 that she had myelodysplastic syndrome, a condition where the bone marrow gradually stops producing healthy blood cells the body needs. Without intervention, her health would continue to decline. What she needed was a stem cell transplant and a match. Finding a donor can take time, sometimes years, but in Sakala's case, something extraordinary happened. She officially entered the transplant system in August of 2021, and by October, she got the news a perfect match had been found. It was a young man from somewhere in Europe, and that is all I knew, Sakala told People magazine. Who was this literal angel that would take the time out of his life to do something like this? She was overwhelmed by the idea that someone she had never met, someone who wasn't getting paid, had chosen to help save her life. My immediate reaction, truthfully, was shock and just an overwhelming amount of gratitude. The angel turned out to be Karol Zwerzinski, a 25-year-old from Poland. When he received the call that he was a match, he stepped forward without hesitation. After the donation, both of them were left with only the smallest details about each other. Zwerzinski knew just three things. The recipient was a woman in her 30s living in the United States. I was shocked that someone living so far away could have DNA so similar to mine, he said. And at the same time, I was deeply moved and full of hope that my stem cells would engraft successfully and help her to return to health. For a while, all they could do was wait. Eventually, when the required waiting period ended, Sikala didn't hesitate as she wanted to know the person who gave her a second chance. Zwerzinski reached out first in March of 2025, opening the door to a connection that had already changed both of their lives. Not long after, Sikala followed her heart and extended an invitation. Would he come to her wedding? He said yes. In December of 2025, Zerwinski and his wife traveled to attend the celebration, turning what began as a life-saving medical procedure into a deeply personal, full-cycle moment. A video capturing their emotional meeting at a wedding quickly spread online, drawing more than 1 million views. During the receptions, Rzinski addressed the crowd with a message that resonated far beyond the room. Somewhere out there, your Katie may still be waiting, he said, encouraging others to consider becoming donors. Today, Sikala is in remission, and her story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the person who changes your life forever starts as a complete stranger. How beautiful is that? Wow. And so quickly. Oh my goodness. Well, I think this might be my favorite story of the night. Little children always, they're just, oh, they're incredible sometimes. Well, this 3-year-old sees an older man eating alone at McDonald's. And what does he do next? Well, it brings his mom to tears. A simple breakfast stop turned into a moment of pure kindness thanks to a 3-year-old boy who saw a stranger sitting alone and decided no one should have to eat by themselves. Oh, I might get a little emotional. What was supposed to be a quick, unplanned visit to McDonald's in El Reno, Oklahoma, became something much more meaningful for Ashlyn Drew and her son, Hudson, affectionately known as Huddy. We didn't plan on stopping, but once inside, Huddy noticed an elderly man sitting by himself. Curious, concerned, he asked his mom a question that stopped her in her tracks. Where were the man's kids? Ashlyn gently explained that they were likely grown and living their own lives. But that answer didn't sit well with Huddy. Huddy walked over and asked the man if he could join him. When the man said yes, the toddler climbed right into the booth and sat down for breakfast like they'd known each other for years. It made me cry in the middle of McDonald's, Ashlyn said. For her, the moment wasn't surprising. It was simply who Huddy is. And for her, the moment was something very special. She said since he was born, he was always lit up by the world. He's a very sweet kid. I always say live like Huddy because he doesn't see people any different. He loves everyone. A video of this touching encounter has since spread across TikTok, racking up over 1 million views and reminding people everywhere just how powerful a small act of kindness can be. Ashlyn hopes the story encourages others to reach out, especially to older individuals who may be feeling alone. When you see an older person, more than likely their spouse has passed away or is in a nursing home. Take the time to say hi, smile, sit with them. They can tell you some great stories. As it turns out, this wasn't just a random meeting. The family later discovered the man lives only a few miles away and had been good friends with Huddy's late great grandfather. The family says they're hoping to share many more breakfast dates in the future. Way to go, Huddy. Talk about bringing family together from who knows how. Like, that is just outstanding. Little kids, they do the things that we think of doing but resist because it might not be appropriate. Guess what? Saying hello to somebody, spending some time with a stranger, or listening to their story. And if they don't want it, they will say so. All right. Moving along, back to dog stories. Oh, wait a minute. This is a cat story. A dog person accidentally got a cat. Then he discovered he was wrong about everything. If you've ever considered yourself a dog person, you might get a kick out of this surprisingly wholesome story. making the rounds online because sometimes all it takes is one cat to flip the script. A Reddit user recently shared how they went from being a self proclaimed stubborn dog lover to, well, a full on cat person. Not by choice, of course, at least not at first. As they put it, the cat distribution system chose me, and they couldn't bear to watch a struggling stray go hungry. One act of kindness, they had a new roommate and a whole new perspective. Wow, that looks like my first cat that I ever had. So, what makes their story so fun and relatable is the list of assumptions they used to have about cats and how quickly those ideas unraveled once they actually lived with one. The smell of a cat owner's home. Well, I've known a few cat owners with cat smelling homes. I always assumed it was the cat. Turns out it isn't. It's very much a result of poor ownership and bad cleaning habits. You gotta clean the litter. Second, dogs are more affectionate than cats. Also not true. To my surprise, my cat is so cuddly that I occasionally call him Cat Dog. Number three, a cat's barbed tongue hurts. I don't know why I thought this, he said. I just assumed it would hurt when they licked you. It doesn't. Number four, litter boxes are disgusting. Not at all. It's just a clump or two of sand. If you scoop it often, it never gets gross. And number five, cats are just as hard to take care of. Actually, they are much easier, and I can speak to that. The user wrapped things up by sharing a photo of their cat, affectionately named Paw, and making it very clear that this once reluctant adopter is now completely smitten. It's a lighthearted reminder that sometimes the things we think we know just aren't true, and that love has a funny way of showing up when we least expect it. That is a lovely story. I've had cats all my life and just became a dog person, but I'm still a cat person too. Okay, moving along. Oh man, this is a very sweet story. A young girl's disappointing moment at a hockey game became a powerful lesson in kindness. You know, kindness doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes a moment. A young girl's disappointment at a sporting event in Hartford, Connecticut, turned into a powerful lesson of kindness after a police officer stepped in to make sure her night didn't end on a sad note. Earlier this month, a family was attending a Hartford Wolfpack hockey game when the team mascot pointed to the girl and her brother and tossed a t shirt their way. It looked like a perfect moment until the shirt bounced off the wall and ended up with another child. The excitement instantly turned into disappointment. But Officer Christopher Vanway, who was working the game, noticed what had happened. Rather than letting the moment pass, he stepped in and surprised the little girl with a hockey toy and a soccer ball, turning her night around in an instant. The simple act of kindness meant everything to the family, who shared that moment, that which taught their children about compassion and the positive role police officers play in the community. In a letter later shared with the police department, the girl's mother said, "The gesture made my daughter's day." She added, "I hope this card can get to the police officer. Thank you for all you do each and every day to protect us, and thanks for teaching my children about kindness. A very appreciative mom, Leah." Her daughter even wrote her own thank you note. "You are very thoughtful. Thank you for the hockey toy and soccer ball. I hope you have a good day, Bella." The department shared the story as a reminder of what truly matters in their work. This is what policing is about: showing up, paying attention, and making a difference when it matters most. Mm, I love positive stories about the police department. I don't like the other ones. These ones are good. All right, moving along. Whoa, we're getting close to the end here. Well, another dog, she's our little savior. A half blind senior dog takes on a bear to protect her family. Dogs are amazing. Out in the quiet rural county of Cordova, one very brave dog proved that heroism has nothing to do with age or perfect eyesight. Meet Honey, a 12-year-old half-blind family dog who is now being celebrated as a true protector after a terrifying overnight encounter with a bear. Earlier this month, Honey was keeping watch over the Martinez family's land, home to chickens, horses, and other animals, when she suddenly picked up on something unusual. She was tracking something at the time. We didn't know what, but we knew she was tracking something. By the next morning, the family would discover just how dangerous that something had been. Honey was found lying in the driveway, badly injured. Around the property were clear signs of struggle, scratches along the fence and trees that pointed to a bear having wandered onto their land. Somehow, Honey had confronted it. Her face was swollen on the left, and that's when I saw like her whole neck was just ripped from the back all the way down. Despite the severity of her injuries, Honey made it back home. The family rushed her to an emergency veterinarian where she spent overnight. It was devastating. I never thought I would ever see our dog in that shape. With mounting medical bills, the family turned to Espanola Humane for help. The clinic was able to provide the urgent care Honey needed at a more affordable cost, treating her deep neck wound and continuing her recovery with bandage changes and medication. Her face was so hugely swollen, we couldn't even tell her features. Honey still has a long road ahead. Her wound remains open and will take months to fully heal. But what's already clear is the impact of what she did that night, protecting not just her family, but the many animals depending on her. Wow, what a great, great dog. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness, we are running out of time, so let me move along. Well, this woman, her neighbor invited her to an art show and said, I really want you to wear this particular dress. Okay. Sometimes life's most wonderful moments are the ones we least expect. A few days before a local art show, Farah Bakari was chatting with her neighbor, artist Catherine O'Neill, when she received a casual invitation to attend the opening. Nothing unusual, but then came a slightly quirky suggestion. If you want, could you wear your yellow dress? It seemed random, but Farah didn't think much of it. I thought the dress thing was sort of weird, but she's funny that way, so I said, well, it's dirty if I can wash it in time. And when she arrived at the exhibit, something felt different. People smiled as she walked in. There was a quiet buzz in the room. Then I turn up and everyone looks and smiles and murmurs, she wrote on X. Then her neighbor led her over to a painting and everything made sense. A few days ago, my neighbor, artist of 50 plus years, and I were casually chatting. Then, as she's leaving, she says, hey, I have a painting of at this art show opening on Friday. Maybe you want to come. I enthusiastically agree. And then she asks, if you want to come, wear your yellow dress. There on display for everyone to see was Farah. The painting was inspired by a real moment, her standing in the artist's garden, and was part of a wider collection celebrating everyday life and community. Catherine titled the piece Yellow Dress for the Seeing Ithaca exhibit. Farah was deeply moved by the gesture. Needless to say, I'm so incredibly moved and so grateful for the wonderful community of kind, strange friends I've met in this town. Isn't that sweet? I love that. All right, our hero story of the week. So troopers handling a routine call hear screams for help and they sprint to save a baby. Two Maryland state troopers are being hailed as heroes after saving a choking infant, proving how training and instinct can make the difference between tragedy and relief. Every parent should take baby CPR. It really makes a difference. I had to use it on my youngest. Trooper First Class Taylor Hirsch and Corporal Jonathan Stolzfoss were handling an unrelated call across the street when a frantic grandmother rushed up to them with a baby who was unable to breathe. The situation was critical and there was no time to waste. Body cam footage shows the trooper sprinting over to the woman and immediately performing life-saving measures. Within moments, they were able to clear the infant's airway, restoring the child's ability to breathe and bringing a terrifying ordeal to a safe ending. Maryland State Police later emphasized just how crucial their response was, saying without hesitation, the troopers immediately began life-saving measures and were able to clear the infant's airway. Their quick action and training made all the difference, preventing what could have been yet another tragic outcome. For Hirsch, the intense moment was a clear example of how preparation takes over when every second counts. I had to use it on my youngest, and boy, go get the training. It's really worth it. Well, everyone, we've come to the end of our show, running over. Oops. And I just want to say thank you. The New Thought Media Network is a very important place to be. Good news all through the week, good shows, good information, good radio station. Please consider to like, share, and subscribe, and even donate to the New Thought Media Network. Just go to ntmedia.org, hit that donate link. All right, I'll see you again next week. Thank you so much for being here. Have a blessed weekend. Happy Easter. Bye for now.